Alright, Sean here. It's 2nd November. Uh, in this video I'll go over, just do a brief overview of the market, where we are, where we stand, potential going into this week, and then I'll go over some potential setups that I scanned through, at least going into Monday, early part of the week. So, without further ado here, this is a chart of the weekly SPY, and you can see the sharp sell-off and then the pretty dramatic recovery that we've had. This was basically, if you've been watching, this was it was indicated, market extreme indicator here on that reversal week, basically saying that things are overdone, time to buy. That hasn't triggered, doesn't trigger that often. In fact, it's only the third time since end of 2012 that it has triggered on the weekly, and it was pretty a pretty good indicator, at least this time. The yellow, all the yellow means is that it basically confirms the that this is a low when you get this yellow bar. So last week, once we got through these levels here, that basically confirmed that this low should be a pretty substantial low. So here the volume was pretty intense. In fact, it's the highest volume we've had, going back basically since 2000. That the mini crisis, 2000, Greece mini crisis 2011. We haven't seen volume like that since that time. So we'll see how things go forward here, but there's no question that the market is just below highs, all-time highs in the S&P. It just seems like it's just a matter of time now that the market takes it out and tries for another wave higher, if you will. Again, I'm not talking, more at a higher time frame. We're not even, overbought at this point in the weekly. So we definitely are on the daily in the tactile sense. I think we had, in a way, we have been now for probably a week and a half. And that just, I think, adds to the pain and frustration on most traders. So this is a daily, and you can just see it's just been a relentless rally now, and I think that this train has left the station and left a lot of professionals in the dust. There's a lot of fundamental guys on the internet, and TV crying and moaning and bitching and saying this, we're in a bubble, yada yada yada. Who gives a shit? The market is going higher, and at this point, and if you're not long, and again, it doesn't matter. Price is right now what matters, and the market just has been on a tear. So. That being said, I mean, we do have some overbought oscillators, and McClellan's been kind of overbought, like I said, probably for a week and a half. But the right thing to do after such a that strategic basically bullish indicator here of a potential bottom was to get into the relatively strong stocks, and that's the strategy. And just ride it, and not try to split hairs and get into the lower time frame. It's like, okay, you got the higher time frame set up, go to the next lower time frame, which is the daily, and ride it, and that's been the right move. So to get into the intraday time frame was basically the wrong thing to do with that higher setup. But at this point, we're right at highs. No question. I'm sure there's a lot of people who have ridden this. I mean, if you know, have to be a bit nervous. I have a few, you know, been riding a few longs here for you know, quite some time, and sure, you know, you know, it's a nervous time after a move like this, because you know, all it takes is a day or two, a sharp down move, and won't even look like a bad pull in, but it'd be painful if you know, holding positions. So that's what I think. You know, it's basically now a push-pull between the nerves of, you know, the bulls that have been holding, and the nerves of the bears, who may still be short, you know, and again, the nerves of those who will either selling in here or selling down in here, and now may need to you know, buy some stock back at some point, especially if we do make a move higher, and then it becomes, hey, we're going into December, you know, closing on a high type of thing. So I think going into this week, the name of the game is going to be, yeah, you know, beta exposure is probably, you're going to want to lighten up on it, you know, so there's a bunch of different ways to do it. I think in this scenario, if you don't want to sell those good stocks and positions you have that have run, is, you know, maybe get short some relatively weak stocks, and that will basically should anyways, theoretically, hopefully, if you pick in the right stocks, sort of hedge out your beta, you know, in some way, being short the weak stocks, long the strong stocks, and you know, so then you really at that point more weighted into idiosyncratic risk, or also, you know, or another word for that is stocks specific risk, and in this earnings season, that could work, because there are stocks, you know, especially after earnings, or this, that, and the other. You know, the stock specific aspect will sort of takes over, and it's, you know, moves, you know, post earnings, and the market, you know, may not have as much effect as in other times. So again, I don't think now is the time to be chasing. In fact, I do have on the NASDAQ, I do have basically a red bar here, which basically tells me don't buy the market, you know, and again, it makes sense at this point. You know, I'm not into initiating a position in beta here. You know, that being said, I mean, I think the key here for the early in the week is to see, okay, even if we do break the low on Friday, how far do they pull it in? Do they fill this gap, or do they hold you know, I mean, ideally for the bulls, they kind of hold Friday's low, and for a couple of days, let some of this get, you know, worked off. But again, we'll see, and that would be the pain trade, I think, because there's a lot of people out looking for a pull in. They want to see it. You know, they want to be buying down in here, not up in here. But we'll see how things develop. I do have a you know, this is one thing I may be probably put a short position on, maybe worth a shot. We break Friday's low, just see where it goes. And again, you know, at least initially, your cover spot would be Friday's high. So you know, basically, again, give it a day or two to work, you know, and if in a day or two it's kind of just sitting in here, you know, not doing much, it's probably time to tighten that stop up, you know, and or get out of the position. Same thing with the Russell. Have the same type of setup here. In fact, I got two no buys in here. What's key though here with the Russell, it definitely broke this downtrend. So if it can consolidate in here, would build a little bit of a base, and then give it room to make another run higher here, and have, you know, and that would definitely prove the complexion has changed in the Russell. because this has definitely been one of the most hated indexes so far this year, and rightly so, because it has been the one that's been beat up the most. So again, in this, just like the Nasdaq, might be worth a shot to get short this below Friday's low, and see where they can, if they can pull it in any capacity. So that's the markets. I'm going to just go over some potential setups here. Again, my focus has been more towards a stock-specific situation. So being that it's been earnings, it's been earnings season, and I've been basically focused on stocks that have had earnings, kind of usually, earnings shocks are what I'm looking for, either bullish or bearish shocks, and then watch how the stock reacts after the shock, and sort of get involved appropriately. So at the end of this, I'll go over a couple that happened last week, but I'm going to start with some things I'm looking for going into the week, some potential setups. So on the note of what I'm just talking about, so U.S. Steel has been a stock that has been quite volatile lately. Basically went from the 40s almost back into the 20s in a matter of 2-3 weeks. It's had a nice recovery here now, and then actually had some really nice earnings, although they sold it pretty good, but it stabilized on Friday. Almost filled the gap here. Just kind of missed it. Missed filling the gap, but as far as I'm concerned, that's almost a gap fill right there. So that being said, though, I mean, the nice thing is that tells me that's a nice support here. So Friday's low is the support. This is something worth potentially buying above this 40 and a quarter level, and see if they can challenge these highs here, the post gap highs, and maybe even make a run even higher. And you're risking the low on Friday initially, and then one of my rules as well is if I have any size, I'll risk the if they take that level out, I'll kind of risk that low on if I have any size on the size, and then have a small stop, for the rest of the position down here. So that's one stock I'm looking for, is U.S. Steel. Along the same vein is this Candy Technologies. They had this gap on Thursday. It's had a little bit of a rough run, but it's definitely now gotten above some resistance that has proven to be support. Gapped up again, almost, but didn't quite fill the gap here, and had a nice little reversal on Friday. So the key here is to be buying above these levels here, and see where they can take it from here. I figure next level is sort of in this 18 area potentially. So again, it's worth a shot. Buy above these levels, and see how the market reacts. I mean, the market reacts, in a good way. It'll take it out, and you'll never look back. If it takes it out, and then it comes back down, it's probably not good. That's the market telling you that maybe time to lighten up or get out of the position. But again, the initial risk will be down here at these lows. And time frame is everything, so you got to know your time frame and the risk you're willing to take on these. Another one, Microsoft, again had good earnings, but they kind of beat it all the way back down. But it's pretty impressive. They came right back, and then they kind of definitely caught pretty big support there, and now it's basically been leaking back, and in fact it's above the gap, the earnings gap high, and closed real strong. So the key here is if it can take out these 47s, it should be poised to take out these the yearly high here. And then again, if you have a little bit of room on this, it could be one of those positions that should run into year end. So again, that's just my 2 cents, but we'll see how things play out. Another stock along the same vein here is this Align Tech, ALGN. Same thing, nice little gap up. It's kind of just whipped around, but it definitely it held that support. And now it's leaking back towards the highs, on this gap day. So above 53 is a level. I'll cheat in, see if they take it out here, and then looking for 55 pretty quickly. Give it a day or two to reach up in this 54, 55 area. Again, the market will tell me what, if it takes out that level and doesn't really move. It might be, that level may not be any good. So again, got to listen to what's going on. Let's see here. This one, RWLK, kind of relatively new issue. Just something that looks a little interesting here. It's a little, you can draw a little trend from these highs. You can just looks like this level here, or 32.5. It may be interesting if they can take that out. It might then catch go for another move here. So just another thing on my radar. This stock, which was on my radar, CyberArk, last week, actually got long it, got out of it. It definitely had a volatile couple days there. Took out these post IPO highs, but really didn't run like I thought it would. Twice, it kind of got beat back down below that level. And on the level I'm talking about here, it's like around a 36 level. Couldn't close above 36. Still couldn't close above 36 on Friday. So that's a pretty interesting level there. And if it maybe, even if it gets back above here, it doesn't pop. But if it closes above 36, that may be something interesting to get back into. So this is not an A plus setup, but it's something I'll keep an eye on for, because this may be something that my initial target here was initial meaning the overall target for this move should be roughly $50 if I'm taking this 36 down and comparing it to this $26 level, and then doing a Fibonacci target. A 2.618 target comes into right around $50. Again, that's not one of those, hey, it's going to happen in a day or two. It could take a little bit of time to get there. And this thing, right now, it's nice above these levels. It's above these levels, but this 36 is definitely a bit of an issue for it. So again, something that I'll keep an eye out for. So again, on the short side, you saw on the beta side, the Nasdaq and the Russell may take a shot at it if they take out the Friday's low, get short. And again, just to protect some of the longs, if I'm still able to hold on to them. But on the short side, stocks like Twitter got short this again on Friday. Actually got shorted below Wednesday's low. It had a nice little reversal, so I ended up getting out of it for a small loss, and then got shorted again just off the open on Friday. So we'll see where this thing goes. Might be worth another shot below Friday's low as well. And being that the market is, I hate to say overbought. It's been overbought now for a week, and if not more, depending on who you talk to. But if the market wants to pull in for a day, 2, 3, or whatever, this may be a stock that's gonna have a tough time if the wind is in its face, right? So I gotta anticipate that the next level for this stock is definitely down in these mid 30s. In fact, the level that it originally broke out of when it finally broke this real bearish trend was, if I remember correctly, roughly 35. Yeah, 35 right here. Right here was when the complexion changed in Twitter. When it broke this $35 range, that became good support in here, right? 36, 35 area. So now that it's kind of frustrated, a lot, a lot of holders of the stock. I just have to imagine that 35, 36 level is going to be something that we're going to go back to. To at least give it a test that area again. VMware, another one that disappointed, kind of rallied back rather, and something that I think right now may be worth a shot to sell these Thursday and Friday's low. See if they maybe leak back down to these lows in here. It's been relatively weak, obviously, after this earnings. IBM is another one that's been beaten down. Not an A plus setup. I think the A plus setup was the second day. It was shorting this low, and then it actually came off pretty good. But I think with the market at these levels, and we get a day or two down, this could actually get back and want to test these lows again. So IBM is one I'll have on my watch list for a short. And then even Facebook as well, another social media play that disappointed. I might look to short Friday's low, below Friday's low. Just take a shot at it real quick. I'm not looking to risk much on it, but again, if the market gets weak and it takes that level out, it should be pretty quick move lower, and you shouldn't take much heat in it. That's the whole name of the game, is avoiding taking heat, right? And look for a retest here, and then maybe even lower, and test this level here at 70. So those are really the shorts that I'm looking at, and that's pretty much it going to the early part of the week. Again, I don't really have any super A plus setups. It's going to be, maybe a bit of a battle with the market up here, and again, I'm leaning a longer term bullish, but I think short term might have a little bit of at least a couple days of at best sideways action. So anyway, that's it for this, the setups that I have going into tomorrow. I will go over quickly, if you want to hang around, some of the stocks from last week. PH was one of my better ones. Again, along the same vein as some of these, had a good earnings gap. Got involved on this day, right? Had this little, reversal day here. Got involved on this day, boarded above this 117. I don't know what this is. You know what? I just don't have enough time to read all the news. I gotta imagine it was a upgrade or whatnot. So that was a nice gap to hold overnight. I actually sold it. I got whipped a little bit on this day here. Sold it at 123. Yeah, I mean that was a quick move to 126, and it came right back in like within a minute or two or whatever it was. Sold as it kind of broke back down, and then actually bought it back later in the day as it recovered. I think it was about the same price I sold it at earlier, and then and it just kind of held. The nice thing is it held in quite well here, and then each day it it made new highs on Friday with the up gap. So I mean that's a pretty intense move here. I mean I guess I'm a pig at this point. But I have a intraday algorithm that's monitoring the trade. So if it breaks down, it'll get me out. I'm not riding this back down into here unless they gap it lower for some reason, and who knows, anything goes in this market. But I gotta say, I mean, with a little bit longer perspective, I have to imagine that this stock has, the gas, or should, at some point to take challenge these 130s and potentially make a run for, new highs here. So, but we'll see how that develops. Another one is Unisys that developed last week. Same thing. Gap up, stabilized here, gave it a couple days, bought above this level here, above this 24, and kind of been holding it. Actually bought some more as it broke above here, and so far it's working, and it's broken its pretty big downtrend here above its 200-day moving average. So this fundamental shock may be the spark that allows it now to have a couple week rally or so. So we'll see how that one plays out as well. I've been holding Apple now for pretty much since this day here. And again, it's not the prettiest move. It's not the greatest trading stock. It's just sort of leaking higher. Again, I kind of am anticipating some sort of violent, move in this stock to get people who are involved in here to really test them. So we'll see if that develops this week. I thought they were doing it on Thursday. You had a nice little drop, broke the prior day's low, but it came right back. I was looking more for it. Well, I said 104, 105 was what I was looking for, and sort of in here, maybe on this day. And we've got 106, and not quite 105. I was looking more for a retest down into this area, and we still may get that in this week, especially if the market does take a breather. Apple may punish some people that are in here, get the weak hands out, and then give it a shot to get to 110 or higher. Again, longer term perspective, this is at all-time highs. This is one of those trades that I remember years ago. Some guy who made a shit ton of money this is like his Bermuda trade. Stock gaps up. He was more like, hey, stop gaps up into new high territory, and then kind of consolidates and takes out. He's like, just buy it and go to Bermuda. Don't even look at it, because come back in 2 months and the stock will be much higher. And that was, and that's sort of the premise of these gap up, positions. And when you think about it, like you buy in this day, you're risking the low, which is 101. The high here is 103. You're risking $2, and you're at this point, this thing's at 108. That's a pretty good risk reward, and if you, who knows where this ends up. But you've seen where these things just gap and just go, and you'll be like, whoa, you risk $2 and you're making $50. But I don't see that that's going to be the case in Apple. But I'm just, hypothetical. This game's all about risk reward. So anyway, I actually did buy some stuff on Friday, believe it or not, with this huge gap up, and again, and my reasoning was more, I'm looking for this idiosyncratic risk, the idiosyncratic part of these is stocks to take over and become the dominant force in the movement of these stocks. So when WellPoint had earnings on Wednesday, gapped up, kind of you know, again held the gap, or almost filled the gap, but the next day kind of moved up in here, and I said, hey, you know what, I want to be buying above this 124 area. Well, with the gap up, it actually gapped in higher. Bought it pretty close off the open, and it kind of, it didn't reward me right away. In fact, I was down for probably a good half an hour, not by much. So but I was basically, that morning low is where I was getting out. Never broke below it. Got close a few times, and then just powered higher when it took out the 125s. Which makes sense, because that's it's a pretty big level in here, and then it just went. So we'll see where that ends up. CRS is another one I bought. Again, had this big move here. Kind of, it's like if you draw a little trend line here, it's like a little flag was developing, and I figured, hey, let me buy above Thursday's high. And this is one that, even with that big up gap in the market, kind of opened almost unchanged. So probably because it's not as followed of a market. It's not necessarily deemed a market stock, if you will. But it gave me a chance to get in here. I think it was like 48.5. Closed above 50. So we'll see. I mean, now the next move, it's got to really take out this level here at the so we're close to the 51 area, and then we'll see if it can make it extend this move. That's about it. I mean, there were some other things I had on my list that didn't work out. Early in the week, BTU, I actually got shorted on this day here, and then it just didn't work. I bought it back real quick here. I think I sold it like roughly 10.25, and then I bought it back at like 10.50. On this day, it just wasn't working out, so I got out of that. OCN was one that actually was working for a little bit, but I sold it on this day and got out of it. Sold it. I think roughly around 19. I sold it and then bought it back just above 19 on this day. And probably should have went long it, because look at that move. That's pretty impressive. But I took a small loss. I figured it was worth a shot here if they can dump it down again. It definitely had some news regarding some sort of investigation. So I guess obviously that investigation is turning out all right for them. Z was on my list with a break below here, and on Thursday it gapped lower, and I wasn't into chasing that short, and yeah, so good. This is one I didn't end up doing, but it was on my list though. I was looking okay. It gapped lower, kind of did this, and started to rally. And initially, then I did put a short order in below that low, and it just kept going up. So I never got involved, and now it actually looks pretty strong. Like something that may take out these levels here, takes out these 110s. Get some momentum. So we'll see about that. Yeah, that's it. That's all I had. Really last week. Not too much else going on. So thanks for watching.